What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology post-commentary action. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some games that I played against Kvoth the other day. He is one of the best players currently playing, in my opinion. He's incredibly clean with it. He plays a lot of gods. He plays a lot of gods at a really, really high level, and he's definitely got my number when it comes to games won versus games lost. Let's not talk about it, okay? We're not going into it, all right? But seriously, Kvoth is one of the best defenders out there, and definitely understands this game at a very high level. That being said, I am here to walk you through some decision making and try and learn myself a little bit by watching these games back. I learn a lot from watching my own gameplay and doing commentary on it, because you get to unpack sort of thought process that you had in the moment and decide whether or not that thought process was actually accurate or not. Nonetheless, let me talk a little bit about what happened in this early game. On Poseidon and on Greek, if I've got myself the straggler trees in a nice enough spot, I'm actually going to grab a little bit of wood and then drop into a granary. And this way, I'm able to just get a little bit more wood for me, so I'm not sort of worried about anything. I don't particularly think this is like 100% correct or not, but I like the idea of it, and it doesn't slow me down at all. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. There's probably a completely valid way to play without doing this, but I quite like it. Nonetheless, now, this is the most important thing. This is the thing that I think Greek players and anyone who wants to play aggressive really needs to do early on in the game. It's scout your opponent's main base. And what does that actually mean? Well, it's one thing to just go in there and look and see what's there, but what are you looking for? What I've seen in this main base so far is I've seen his hunt placement or his food placement, whether that be chicken, berries, hunt. In this case, it's hunt and berries. I know where his gold mine is, even though I haven't seen it because I've scouted everything else. And I know where his wood lines are. And I actually know exactly where his wood is. So why is this important? Well, I think a lot of players kind of miss opportunities for early aggression, and this is early aggression against everything, because you don't know what you're really looking for, right? And you can be like, okay, he's got resources in his main base, those are safe resources. Well, they're actually not safe resources. This hunt on the front of my base here, if I didn't eat it, first and foremost, is not safe hunt. My opponent can very easily raid this. The hunt on the back of my base is starting to look a little bit more safe, especially with a forest there. My gold mine on the side here, or my wood line on the front here, not necessarily safe either. So I do have to defend those somehow, whether that be with units or with buildings. Now, I've looked at my opponent's base. I see exposed wood line. I see exposed food. I see exposed gold. Everything here in his main base is somewhat exposed. And what does this mean? It basically means that for him to defend himself without producing anything, he needs to get buildings everywhere, which simply put is just not able to happen. Now, I make a mistake here, and I need to get better at this. I didn't send my scout back in to see exactly what was happening. At this moment, the top of the map being black doesn't really matter. I can get myself out a Pegasus later and clean that up, especially with the upgrade for Hermes, which is really, really good. But effectively, I should have that scout in my opponent's base, seeing where his hunt villages are. Because right now, I just assumed he'd be finished on the food there, but in actuality, he very much was not. And I do hit this wood line a little bit, cause a little bit of idle time, which is nice. But yeah, he wasn't on the other side because you only have 5 villages on food. If you had 7 villages on food, he'd probably be moving over to that other side around about then. But yeah, he didn't. So that's what really scouting and not really taking guesses is all about. You don't want to assume your opponent's doing one thing and then get in trouble for it. So I lose out on a little bit of early pressure here. Not the biggest of deals, but just I could have played a little bit more optimally. Nonetheless, Now, my game plan is simple. I saw that he only has one caribou left on the other side, so I'm literally just going to be poking in here, making sure that no buildings are getting built onto this food over here, and I'm going to put pressure onto it. I don't want my opponent to be grabbing any food on that location. Like that, this is completely open food for him, and I'm going to do my best to raid there. He's obviously trying to protect his wood. He gets very early watchtowers, so this is already sort of a win for me. Sure, it's cheap as Freya, but yeah, he's sort of forced to do this, and I can sort of distract up those Hippias now, get some good damage done, and we've forced even more idle time in, while we can start hitting multiple different positions on this base here. As you can see, I can basically get a villager kill here. I do lose a lot of HP on a Hippias, but getting a villager kill means over the course of, say, 2 minutes, I've paid off, or not even 2 minutes, over maybe like 60 seconds, I've paid off that HP loss on my Hippias. Plus, as Poseidon, I can get the upgrade, Lord of Horses, I believe it's called, to reheal my Hippias. And at this point here, I do a little trick here, and I think this is really, really good. If you can do this against anyone and any sort of situation, you should do it, which is effectively, if you see your opponent having, like, hunt in their main base, you can push it out of their main base or out of their second town center, kill it, and then all of a sudden it's very raidable. So your opponent can think they've got safe resources, but in actuality they do not. Nonetheless, at this point, I see he's going for a whole bunch of infantry units, and I need to start thinking about maybe getting myself some favor. I start putting some villagers on favor and make some centaur, excuse me. Centaur are a terrible idea here if I want to keep raiding, keep putting on pressure. I've definitely forced him into a little bit of a challenging spot here, as we can hit him on the berries as well. We can hit him on these straggler trees. Funnily enough, everything in his base is very much exposed, and it might not seem like I'm getting like a huge amount of damage because I've only killed one villager thus far, but in actuality, the idle time that's caused every single time he runs off villagers, that's literally all I'm trying to do. And the better you get at pressure, like this sort of pressure that we're doing here, the better you're able to kind of get the small amounts of idle time, the further ahead you can actually get yourself. So there is a lot of opportunity to kind of make these sorts of plays work. And there's always going to be at least 3 different locations that you can sort of raid in. In this situation here, Kvoth doesn't really want to chop wood on that forward wood line because it's protecting his gold mine. So he's really only got 2 wood lines here to gather from, as we're now going to be able to claim some villager kills on this side, attacking multiple positions here just in case we can maybe catch him out. The hardest part about playing a defensive game is when your opponent is dictating the pace. So if I hit 3 different positions at once, he has to react to 3 different raids at once. I've already queued up my actions. I don't have to do anything extra there. I just have to make sure that if he has army somewhere, I'm able to pull back. So you just have to be sort of aware that on all 3 different positions you have to kind of pull back. It's not easy, don't get me wrong, but it's much, much easier to be aggressive on multiple positions than it is to be to defend multiple positions, in my opinion. Nonetheless, wall's coming up for him, and at the moment I feel like I've actually gotten enough damage here. I could probably have gone for a town center, gone for heroic age here, but the way I see it is he's Freya. I don't want to give him the breathing space here to do anything. He hasn't used Ghoul and Bursty yet. Another villager kill here was very, very nice. Yeah, I don't want to give him the breathing. So I'm going to transition into Toxotes. I see that he's made like majority infantry units and mostly just, what are they called? Herdmen, right? So my Toxotes here are going to be really, really effective. And he does cast the Ghoul and Bursty. Yeah, to retreat back. He is zoning us to some degree on this position. And I just have to run all the way around. I wanted to go the short way, but yeah, we have to run all the way around. If I go the short way there, I can probably deny the hill fort, but in the grand scheme of things, the hill fort not that important. As you can actually see, Kvoth makes a pretty big mistake there, chasing my army back as he's distracted with a whole bunch of other stuff. And I also don't need to get a gold star here. I'm literally just pressuring the entirety of the game. If we pick off a villager, it's great, no worries, because he's not picking off any of our villages. Our villages are all working perfectly, economically or resource-wise. We're spending our resources pretty well. So after all is said and done, we're actually in a really, really good spot. So following this, the next game plan is just get full population, keep putting pressure on, try and deny this hill fort. It is strong. It does pick off my units pretty nicely here, so we do have to be very careful. But if he doesn't want to fight us and he just wants to go to the heroic age, we will be able to push this position down. So in continuously putting pressure on, we are basically saying, hey, it's not okay to go heroic age at this point. You have to stay here and deal with what we're doing. Kvoth, yet again, he's so good at this. I gave him literally like 5 seconds breathing room right there while I was trying to sort out my economy, and he gets a really nice armory up to try and defend this gold mine. Now, in a way, it's a nice armory. In a way, it's not, because I can sit in here and now range this and just keep poking this this gold mine. And I've also got a Pegasus here, which I can literally float on top of the gold to see if he's ever jumping onto it. There is another gold mine over on the top position there, which I should have my scout on, so a little bit of a mistake where that's concerned. And I don't know if I've got an armory up or not yet, but I should definitely have that armory down and be thinking about getting myself copper mail, copper weapons, and maybe even copper shields so I can take less damage from the hill fort. I do have the armory up, so I think I might have copper mail. No, I don't have any upgrades. Okay, so no upgrades yet. Definitely should have at least copper mail queued up here. He's making these Huskal at the moment. Huskal are really, really good if you have enough of them, but to run in with just 5 of them, they're not really going to do a whole lot. As yeah, there we go on the copper mail, so that's going to be able to help us a little bit more. Now, if he's got it right now, I think if he had pure Huskal, which obviously isn't possible in the classical age, his Huskal would probably run over my army. I don't have any infantry units to kill them. My cavalry don't really trade pop efficiently against the Huskal, but against this army here, so long as we're defending our Toxotes with our Hippias, we're actually okay here. The Herdmen, I don't really rate them. I think they're, with the exception of maybe Loki, who has a little bit of extra bonus damage on his Herdmen, I don't actually think they're that good. They die too quickly against arrow fire, so your Hippias are going to just sort of be fine. So long as you've got the arrow fire there, the Herdmen are a little bit average. But nonetheless, we've basically pushed him off gold, and we're in a good spot here. And all we have to do is keep putting pressure. We can go to the next age soon. I'm queuing up for copper weapons as well. I got way too many villages on gold, so as they tell you in the very first episode of the campaign, you can change your villages onto different resources. It's totally fine. So we go ahead and do that. I probably need, I think I do have more military buildings up, but I didn't update it. I need more military buildings for sure at this point. I've only got 4, and I've got 50 villages, so I probably think somewhere between 5 and 6, like around about 1 military building per one military building per 10 villages is about right, but we're not perfect. If I have auto queue, then sure, that'd be correct, but we're not perfect. So get a couple more units out or buildings out, and we're going to be able to spend all those resources nicely. I sent my Pegasus away. It probably would have been better to potentially build another Pegasus, just so that I don't have to keep on poking. I can just see when the villagers decide to wander forward here. Sort of similar to playing as ISIS, where it's like, instead of continuously poking in and out and giving your opponent opportunities to do things, you can just see when the villagers come in and then poke, and you're all good. Now, Kvoth does something really, really nice here. He gets out a whole bunch of Draugr while my heroes aren't really here. I don't know how I brought those villagers or why those villagers have moved forward here, but they did. But we're still putting pressure on to this gold mine. So every single little bit of damage here is putting us in front. And all we have to do at this point is deal with these Draugr. And we do have our heroes now on the front, so we're all good. And these villagers, there we go. They can put them onto food. Happy days. And we can go to the next age. I choose Aphrodite here just on the fact that I don't actually think it matters at this point. Both Dionysus and Aphrodite would be really, really good. But Aphrodite is a little bit more safe. You're going to get value on it no matter what. As if we lose this fight, we can't use bronze. If we win the fight, we can. And anyways, doesn't matter. It's just like Aphrodite seems like the safer decision. But we do manage to get the win. Kvoth taps out. This one feels great because he normally beats me. And yeah, it was a really, really aggressive game, feeling getting in and pressuring for the entirety of this spot here. In a way, like if he defends better, then the game is very equal here, and we move into the next part, and I can keep being aggressive throughout this game. It's really, really fun. So yeah, we got a lot of villagers killed, 12 villagers killed here, which might not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it really is. As you can see, the resource differential, where Norse is generally the civilization on top. If Norse is behind on economy, they're losing. It's just how the sort of matchup works. Like, Norse being in front on economy also doesn't mean they're winning. It's just Norse's units are a little bit paperish, so they kind of need the economy to sort of function in a way. But especially because they're also investing more into their villages. If they're building dwarves, 60 gold, sure that they pay off a little bit. They don't pay off faster than a villager pays off, but they pay off a little bit quicker than you might expect with a little bit more gold income. But nonetheless, that they're more expensive, so they need more resources. It's just kind of how it works. But anyways, let's jump into the next game. I played 2 games against Kvoth. The next one was a very, very interesting one. Gaia versus Freya. Alrighty, so we are Gaia on the map, watering hole against Kvoth's Freya. Now this matchup is tricky. The reason why this matchup is tricky is because we're playing a defensive civ, a booming civ, against a booming civ. And arguably, maybe not arguably, factually speaking, Freya is definitely getting the edge in this matchup more often than not. It's very, very challenging to beat Freya with Gaia, especially on a closed map where you don't really have opportunities to be aggressive. The weakness of Freya is that everything that he gets, it takes time because the technologies take time to research. But if I can't actually apply pressure because the map is closed, then all of a sudden Freya becomes very, very strong. So we have to find a different route through this game. And the only sort of thing, there's 2 sort of ideas that I've got here. So one would be a all-in the heroic age. And maybe we can go for like mass Contarius Dryad cutting villages and just going for an absolute crazy all-in the heroic age, which might actually not be a terrible idea to go for. Or we go for a very, very fast 3 town center game and try and take this game into the late game where we have Fanatics, Arcus, Dryad. And I'm not sure if we win in that position or not, but those were my 2 thoughts here. And as I see the map, the more I see, the more I say, wow, we probably are not going to be able to do any sort of aggressive play. So we're going to have to play a very boomy game here, a very tech-heavy game, and try and do something. So effectively here, I have... yeah, I've got 2 options. I can go for the 2nd town center. I can go for 3 town center. So we have to decide which angle we want to go. And effectively, a little bit of metagaming tells me, well, Kvoth, he knows the map's watering hole. He actually knows that I'm an aggressive player as well. So he's probably going to be expecting me to apply pressure. So if I decide to do something crazy, like go for a fast 3 town center, like naked, he's not going to expect that, and at the very least, I will have surprise on my side and maybe be able to convert something with the advantage that I get out of doing this. That being said, if he does spot it, we can get in trouble very, very quickly. We do have the Caladria and a Carnivora to help us against any sort of early pressure, plus the Hero Citizens can be pretty good to fight back against any sort of early stuff. So that is there to be considered as well. Yeah, nonetheless, Temple comes up. We're going for a slightly later advance. If you remember, when I go for 3 town centers as Egyptian, we go for about a 4:30 advance time. I'm trying to decide between going for Leto or not. Idea with Leto would be that I can place spider eggs on my third town center, which would save me. And I was like, yeah, this would allow us to get our third town center up. It would also give the threat of automaton, which is pretty good, especially in the Mythic Age. But if we're going to be going for 3 town center anyways, either we lose on getting the town center up, or we're going to get it up and we're still going for Fanatics anyways. And then all of a sudden, Leto doesn't really give anything for that. So there's not really a whole lot of point at all. And obviously, Kvoth doesn't have any pierce damage dealing units, so Leto doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. For those of you wondering when you might want to go for Leto, I sort of recommend against Greek, maybe against Egyptian, and Atlantean as well isn't completely awful, especially against like Gaia, for example. You could probably try some Leto out against Gaia, who doesn't have Prometheus. Prometheus is pretty good against Leto because the Prometheans have more hack armor than the automatons do, so they should theoretically win those fights. Nonetheless, we go for this forward town center, nice and quick. Kvoth is advanced quite late as well, so at this point I go, well, at most you'll have like 3. At most you'll have like 3 Herso here. I drop a Carnivora down on the forward longhouse. There, all I'm doing is saying, please no attack my town center. If I get the forward one up, the back one is going up. It's completely fine. I make a little bit of a macro mistake here as I run out of food on my left side, and I get a little bit of idle town center time. Not the biggest of deals, but it does slow everything down a little bit as I'm just trying to get this next town center up started. Basically, before he even starts, his second town center is my goal, and I believe I finish my third town center before he finishes his second town center. Now, if this was flipped, right? If this was like flipped and maybe I took the left town center here, the left forward town center, I don't think I would have been able to get it up, but then I would have been able to stay classical age here and pressure Kvoth's back second town center. But because I know he's not going for that back town center first, there's not really any pressure. I do drop a military barracks here just in case, but to be completely honest, I don't think there's any point in building any military units here in the classical age. So I'm going 3 town center fast heroic, and if I see nothing going up, there's his town center, and yeah, so I get my third basically up before he gets his second up. But yeah, I can't really sneak past this bottom position and prevent him getting a third town center up now. It's just going to take too long for me to get army out while building these villages. Maybe if I'd stayed 2 town centers, I could pressure that spot, maybe kill off the military buildings in the middle, and put some heavy pressure on in the classical age here around onto the back there. The gold mines, however, I'm not going to get a gold star at any point here, so at the very most, I'm just getting pressure, and I just don't see it in terms of the weaknesses in Kvoth's position that I can exploit. So I want to tech here and see what we can do. Beyond that, you know, everybody complains about Implode. It's a very, very strong ability. God Power, it gets much more strong the earlier in the game you use it. So if I can get this Implode out nice and quick, we're going to be in a good spot. And I also see in the center of the map, if I can set up some palace there as well, there's some food, there's a gold mine, and it's nice and close to Kvoth's forward town center, so he can start putting some pressure on there. I will run my Murmillo through just to threaten the tiniest bit of, hey, Kvoth, don't do anything funny here. But I'm doing funny things, is effectively what we're saying. But yeah, we try and pick off a villager. And there's his third town center up. So here's, I would say we are technically in front in terms of economy right now, even though we are very, very far in front in terms of for civilian units. But it's not against Norse. I don't know. I don't think you really outboom them ever because they don't have to pay for their town centers building time. So yeah, maybe we've got more income than them, but they haven't spent as many resources as we have, technically speaking. But yeah, now off to Thea, as our plan is very simple. It is get a palace, maybe get some dryads up to defend, and go Mythic Age. If I can get myself medium infantry, heavy infantry, champion infantry, and go straight into fanatics, all of a sudden, Kvoth, who is probably going to be wanting to go for Berserks, which seems to be the natural unit of choice for Norse against Atlantean, because Norse doesn't have the best counter infantry. I'll be able to deal with those Berserks with fanatics. So how many palace do I really need to support building these fanatics? Well, I don't think I need that many. I think I need like four. I say 4 palace, and that's a lot of palace, but in the grand scheme of things, if I haven't built any military buildings, I haven't built any counter barracks or military barracks, then all of a sudden those palace don't seem that expensive. And this is an idea I've sort of been playing around with a little bit with Norse, which I haven't in my brain, in my theory crafting, is, well, there's this strategy right now with Egyptian, which is a fast mythic into Camel Rider Chariot Archer. And what beats Camel Rider Chariot Archer? Well, Mass Huskarl beat Camel Rider Chariot Archer. So an idea would be to go for not a whole lot of military buildings, 2 town center fast heroic into mass hill forts. Now, you have to build the Herso to deal with like an Ancestor's Eclipse, so it makes a lot of sense that you can kind of go that way. I don't know if it works or not because I haven't tried it, but it's an idea in the back of my head nonetheless. Okay, so now we get a very, very quick Mythic Age. Like I said, there's just... If Kvoth played this game differently, then I would have had to play this game differently. But Kvoth chose to play fast 3 town center. He is playing into his god strength. Makes a lot of sense. But if he chose to play like a 2 town center aggressive game here, all of a sudden I really need to stop teching and I need to do something different. I do have a somewhat safe gold mine, but yeah, it's really up to kind of the player who has got in a defensive game like this, in a defensive map like this. It's up to the player who's got the kind of stronger late game to decide how hard they want to play for the late game. So we're basically both playing for the late game at this point and saying, okay, let's see who wins. Now, I metagamed. I would say I metagamed in this one. And what does metagaming mean? It means I did something that would not work most of the time if my opponent does something different. But basically using the information of how most Freya players would want to play this, I say, great, no worries. Let's just go for the fast 3 town center. This means I get the fast mythic first, and that means I get to put the pressure on first. And in the grand scheme of things, I need to get something done here. As you can see, I've got my palace. That's my 3 palace going up as I'm heading to the Mythic Age, and I will be able to make these fanatics. And fanatics, they're really, really strong. They are really, really strong. I think a lot of people underestimate how good this unit is. It's great. It's just tough to get the palace up in a regular game. And you can see I'm already pre-queuing up champion infantry before I even get any fanatics out, as there's no point in me building anything at this point because there's just nothing to do. And that's part and parcel because of the map. If this map was more open, I would have done a different strategy. I guarantee you. Okay, so we get some fanatics out, and we're still got a little bit of time here to play with. I don't know exactly when Kvoth will be hitting the Mythic Age himself. I'm sure he's going to be trying to rush that out, but we do need to get some units through to get some pressure on. I definitely do need to be thinking about transitioning into Arcus as well, but I don't have the resources just yet. There we go with the barracks. So that's going to be that. And I mean, I thought about getting a fire siphon here to actually push through, but I don't think it's necessary here. I think we just need to get all of our stuff in. I probably didn't have the best scouting at the moment either, so it's probably not a bad idea for me to just attack. I see he's over on this spot as well with a unit walling this off. This was a big mistake for me. I should have sent something over there, like a Stymphalian bird. I should have sent my Stymphalian bird over there and slapped another palace down on that gold mine, because that's going to end up biting me in the bum a little bit later. Getting control of that position is very, very important, as Kvoth is going to drop down both of his god powers here. I do not care. I am in the late game now. I've got myself all of the economy. I don't have the late game. That's a lie. If I don't lose these units here, maybe it's a problem. But yeah, I'm going to take out the Golem Burst. I see how many units he has. I see that I can't do anything with my god power at the moment. He needs to get some units out. I'm here to put pressure on. I've got a Fire Siphon through, and I'm going to now chuck my implode down and try and take this position, because I need to take the middle of the map, and I want to take full control of the gold. I see he's got a gold mine at the top of the map. I see he's got his gold mine at the bottom of the map. I don't know where everything else is. There's his shoot and miss with the Inferno, as none of my buildings die here, which is very, very... Or one of my palaces die, but... Or houses die. Something dies. Nothing important dies there, as now we need to transition into farms, which is really going to hurt, as we very much do need to... have food economy here. We still got food on the front, and I've been in this position is quite challenging for me, because I'm just like, well, how many villages do I need on each of my resources? I've never played this before. I don't know how much food I really need. Obviously, the fanatics are very food costly. It must be like 80 food or something. They're very, very costly, but yeah, so I need a lot more food income, but I was also struggling for gold before, so I put a ton of villages on gold, so it's all just a bit of a mess at the moment. But we cleaned the town center up, and we're able to keep pushing forward. At this point, I'm looking to grab this town center, but I think what I should be doing is looking to push gold. Just secure this position, go to the left, clear out his side build over there or something with a handful of units, hold the center, and also go to the right and maybe wall that gold mine off. Right now is my opportunity to find a win in this game, while Kvoth is, obviously he's playing Freya, and he's just hit the Mythic Age, so his armory upgrades, his infantry upgrades, his cavalry upgrades are all taking a lot longer than mine, which I've already got to come through. So we'll go into attempt to do something. I see the red dot over on the right of the map as he's there. I haven't noticed it just yet, but I definitely need to send some units over there. I mean, at this point, it probably wouldn't be a terrible idea to make some Milo out. They're a little bit faster than... I think they're faster than the Fanatics. No, I did send some units over there. There we go. Good job, me. But yeah, we've got to either keep putting pressure on or what. I think right now we see the Fafnir, we see all these champion infantry, and it's like, okay, time to retreat. We need some archers out, and yeah, this is yet again my economy going a little bit to shit here, as I don't have resources. I do actually spend all the resources nicely that are converting into fanatic heroes, but yeah, I need to have these archer upgrades in, because while my fanatics are nice, the throw and axemen are very, very strong here. Now, if I send the dryads forward here, maybe onto the throw and axemen, it can be a little bit better. But yeah, those throw and axemen will and should deal with my fanatics fairly nicely, as he does retreat away. And I have to say, okay, no worries, let's pull back, and we're going to slowly start working towards getting ourselves some Arcus in. I have had the thought of, instead of going Arcus, I had the thought afterwards, instead of going Arcus, maybe going for Contarius here to deal with the throw and axemen. And that way you use the Fanatics to kill off the Berserks, and you run in with the Contarius to try and kill off the throw and axemen. But it's really hard to get the correct amount of units out. Whereas if you go for the whatchamajiggots, if you go for Arcus and Fanatics, it's just easier to get like a 50-50 mix, and that's going to be completely fine there. Now, next port of call here is I need military buildings. I didn't think this through in the game. I was like, I've got 7 military barracks basically here, or about to get 7 military barracks, and I've got 5 or 6 palace, and I was like, that's going to be enough. And in a regular game, it's probably enough, but in a game like this, it just wasn't. I needed more. I needed more, and I needed it now, basically. And I don't need to fight here, but Yeah, I needed all my units out. Now, Kvoth has done something really, really nice here, and I did not recognize it. He's gone for Feasts of Renown, and I'm attacking down. I've nearly got full population, but I'm attacking down full population. He's got all of his upgrades, and he's sitting underneath double hill forts with Feast of Renown. So he's actually getting himself 2 HP a second back. Plus, I don't have myself my economic guild on the front there, so I'm not getting economy back here. So what's the lesson here? Let's not fight underneath this position unless I've also got my boost. So all I need is some extra... I need some siege to actually break down the hill forts. I need to attack somewhere else. So I was nearly full population there. I did not need to fight. My opponent here is technically speaking on a timer to some degree. Because after all the gold mines run out, and he's down population, then he has to go into trade, and he no longer has the dwarfs that are giving him a big advantage gold income wise. So we're actually okay here. But yeah, I definitely misplayed right now trying to make something happen. I come over here to clean up this side build as I see a ballast, and I'm like, okay, there's too much happening over here. And I keep on fighting, and I need to not fight. I just need to say, please come and attack me underneath my stuff where I've got things. Because yeah, I just need population. It's tough, but that's the nature of this. I just need population. He's coming over onto this side. My units here getting a little bit path locked by my own buildings. And he can't actually... I don't actually think he can take that town center down, but I need villagers over there to be repairing it. As, I mean, I'm a little bit more distracted with what's happening over on the other side. Nonetheless, you see some villagers coming over to a gold mine. He's obviously struggling for gold a little bit. I know that he's probably on the left side as well. In classic Kvoth fashion, he'll be everywhere. He should be on, shouldn't be on the map, but there's literally 3 gold mines over there that he could have been mining from as he had the town center on that position. So need to go and check that out and get a little bit of damage done. As Kvoth is going to get all his hill forts up. But I'm still not able to get to full population here. I've got now 7 villagers on gold. And my dudes are dying here. I still need to just pull back and get some population in. So I'm just not able to hold. But nonetheless, I'm trying to push off gold. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I don't win this game by gold starving or pushing off resources. I win this game by having an army that can defend these town centers. So I probably shouldn't have cared. This is what I'm thinking now, just watching it back. I probably shouldn't have cared about the sides all too much and maybe just sent a very small raiding force off to that side and done it there. But after I lose that town center, I'm behind on tech. So it doesn't matter if I get up to full pop here. I'm still going to be in a very, very difficult position. And yeah, so the lesson here is, well, one, Feast of Renown is really, really good for those hill forts. I lost my one opportunity at nearly full population to take some good fights. Did not need to do that. Could have just held, gotten myself some upgrades, maybe cleaned out that left side and started a trade route. And yeah, I think that strategically speaking, if I can get these fast 3 town centers up, we're actually in a good spot. I definitely feel like I could have won this game if I played it a little bit more succinctly, a little bit better. But yeah, we didn't get there, and this is just all credit to Kvoth's ability to kind of make something of nothing in a way here. I mean, you can point to like technologies or things with Freya being really, really strong and maybe being a little unfair, like Feast of Renown. But in the end here, we had an advantage and we didn't convert, and it was a fun game. It was really, really fun. But nonetheless, no victory for us in this one. But we got him in the last one, and that's all that matters. And if you guys enjoyed these post commentaries, definitely let me know. Let me know what you want to see in terms of like 1v1 gameplay. My name's Boit, and I'll see you guys in the next game.